Thursday night. This is Dick, WB2JPQ. I'll be doing, along with Scott, W2BLT, and Roger, KO4QMM with Vicky on the log. K8BKY will be doing, what is this? That's number 641. 641 already. The East Coast Reflector Tech Net. I know people are probably sick of hearing it, but our format is, we see if we have any team members that have anything to report tonight. And we look for silent keys out of our East Coast Reflector family. Hopefully we don't have any tonight. I haven't looked yet. We didn't last week, which was good. And Joe is here tonight. KD2TFB with Celebrity of the Week. That's always fun to listen to, and guess who that is? Then I'll see who we have that's new to this net, that has never checked into this net before, and we'll get you up at the top of the list and let you say hello. And after that, we'll go to stations with questions, stations with amateur radio related questions. Our format has changed a little bit over the last 6 or 7 weeks. We no longer do call districts. We do text check-ins and radio check-ins. And tonight Scott is going to start right after the tech questions with text check-ins. Vicky's got 10 in queue. We'll do 10 text, 10 radio, 10 text, 10 radio. So you can get on the text line, 716-317-9050, 716-317-9050. We encourage everybody to try to get on there and use that. It just makes stuff so much easier, makes the net run so much smoother. Or if you're overseas and want to get in by email, it's text@ecr.radio, text@ecr.radio. So that's how we're going to roll here tonight. Let me see if any of our team members have anything that they would like to report this evening. Once again, this is WB2JPQ. Well, I'm hearing nothing. Kevin VE3BZ texted me a little bit earlier. Said he has nothing in the swap and shop, so there's nothing from him, no report from him this evening. A couple things that I have that I want to mention. Our news magazine will be coming out over the next few days in our groups. It's out on Facebook, and I guess that's the only place maybe right now it's out. It's another nice production. We've added a new DMR Brandmeister talk group. Been in beta test for a little while, and Joe says it's okay to release it the first of the month, and I couldn't wait, so I made the announcement this morning, and we've had a couple of people try it. It's a new talk group. A talk group is housed in our data center in Texas. 321-5714. 321-5714. We still have the 312-9973. Nothing has changed there. Only difference, this is just, will come up W2ECR. It belongs to W2ECR. And it's just a parallel path with the other one. Once again, 321-5714 for the Brandmeister DMR people. They might want to connect up and follow along on that tonight. Let us know. I do not have a DMR set up here right now, so I have to assume that people say it's working, that it's working. And that goes with a lot of our digital groups. Some of us don't have capabilities to listen to it. So if you find something down, let us know. And that's what our hotline is for. Text or call in on the hotline. One last call. Any of our team members have anything that they would like to report? One other thing that I do want to mention, our VU meter and our scope that has been mentioned a couple of for a month or so now, and I did a little write-up in Dick's Corner on the news magazine this month, and we really want to thank everybody that's using it. The audio on here has improved. Many people are using the tools that we provide merely by going and watching their own audio and looking at it, making adjustments as necessary. And so many people have responded that they like it, and you hear people throughout the day saying that what a useful tool, and telling somebody to go and look at their own audio, which is good. So we really appreciate that. It's a nice tool in our sandbox. I guess we should have done it a little bit earlier. Let me just look here. Silent keys. Boy, nothing. Well, there is one. W3DA. W3 Delta Alpha. W3DA just popped up on my text here from our database. The name just says T, so that's all I know. If you come out of our database. Does anyone have a silent key tonight from the East Coast Reflector family that they would like to have remembered? Well, nothing heard. If we could have a moment of silence, please, for W3DA, W3 Delta Alpha. From Bridgeville, Delaware. DE is Delaware. We just have a moment of silence, if you would, please. Kevin, I don't know if you want to get in here, VE3BZ. I know you didn't have anything to report. I don't know if you want to jump in here and get up at the top of the list, get you in here.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Dick. And good evening, everyone. Kevin here, VE3BZ in Victoria Harbour, Ontario. And I guess I'll remind everyone that the East Coast Reflector does have a swap and shop. If you have anything that you want to sell or are looking for anything or have something for trade, just email me what you have and I'll get it listed in the appropriate places and read it right here on the net Tuesday evenings. So to do that, just go to eastcoastreflector.com and contact ECR and then click on SwapNet submissions, or just email me directly at ve3bz@rogers.com. And just looking at the log, I see there's a question of the evening, and my answer is around 50 miles or so. Thank you, Dick. Back to you, VE3BZ.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Fine job as always. And as I turned it over to you, I said I did not tell everybody what the question is. We try to come up with questions. It's tough. We try to come up with questions that all class of licenses can answer. And, you know, I've been doing this for over 12 years, and we've kind of exhausted our supply. But tonight, we're talking in the Zoom room at 3:30 coffee, and I'm not sure who came up with it, but a pretty good question. What is your furthest direct VHF UHF contact in miles you have made? I think Kevin just said 30 or something like that, or 50 miles. Well, what is your longest VHF UHF direct? The key word here is direct. Certainly not through the East Coast Reflector or not through a repeater. But you know, we used to have fun with this back in the early days of FM. To take a rig and go up on 146.52 up to a mountaintop or a high hill and see how far we could talk. So it'd be interesting. So Kevin started this out with 50 miles. What is the furthest direct VHF UHF contact you have made in miles? Joe's here. Good evening, Joe. K82TFB. Good evening.
Thank you, Dick.
I have to say, the only one I can remember would be 15. That's figures 1.5 miles. That's all I can remember. I'm sure I've gone a little further than that, but not very far. And I'd like to say that I will be one of the people tomorrow night on open mic night. I have the 8:30 to 9 o'clock slot Eastern Time. It starts at 8. I can't remember the person with the call sign that's going to be before me. So for this week's celebrity, credit for the tip goes to HF Underground, and the primary source, like many of these, was the English language Wikipedia, and is therefore subject to the Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 4.0 license. John was born April 6, 1939 in New York City, the son of Margaret and John Jr. He and his brothers spent much of their childhood in Bermuda before moving back to New York. He attended high school at St. Mark's School in Southborough, Massachusetts. John earned a bachelor's degree in architectural design from Brown University and an MBA from the Morton School of the University of Pennsylvania. Our celebrity joined Pepsi-Cola division of PepsiCo in 1967 as a trainee, where he participated in a 6-month training program at a bottling plant in Pittsburgh, PA. John led one of the company's first consumer research studies as an extended in-home product test in which 350 families participated. As a result of the research, Pepsi decided to launch new, larger, and more varied packages of their soft drinks. The 2-liter bottle, for example. John worked with DuPont to develop this newer packaging. You may have heard of the Pepsi Challenge. That was John's idea. In 1977, John was named Pepsi's youngest ever president. His next big career, John was lured away from Pepsi in order to apply his marketing skills to the personal computer market. Steve Jobs successfully made the pitch to John, quote, "You want to sell sugared water for the rest of your life? Or do you want to come with me and change the world?" Apple's president at the time wanted to retire and believed that Jobs lacked the discipline and temperament needed to run Apple on a daily basis. Our celebrity, with his solid business background and recent success at Pepsi, would give Apple an image of greater reliability and stability. Well, as many tech enthusiasts know, John met with the Apple board of directors, and they removed Steve Jobs from any managerial duties, causing him to resign and found Next Incorporated. John is said to be responsible for increasing Apple's sales tenfold, from $800 billion to $8 billion, in his 10-year tenure from 1983 to 1993. Our celebrity call sign of the week is Kilo 2 Hotel Echo Papa, or K2HEP, having once belonged to John Scully III. Neither QRZ or the FCC sites list this call sign, but there are plenty of websites that do corroborate this call sign. Kilo Delta 2 Tango Fox Bravo, back to net control. Well, thank you, Joe. Do appreciate you coming in here every week. And I guess we're going to see you tomorrow evening on open mic night. So welcome aboard. Let's get to new stations that have never checked into this net before. If you're new to the East Coast Reflector or new to this net, mainly is what we're looking for, stations that are new to this net. Please give us your call sign twice. If you'll get you in the log, we'll get you up at the top of the list and let you answer our question. Stations that have never checked into this net before, please. That's a great idea here tonight. Nobody wants to step up. Can't believe we have 450 plus connections here tonight. More than that. And hard to believe we have no one that is new to this net. Stations that have never checked into this net before. Come, let us get you up at the top of the list and we'll say hello to you.
Kilo Mike 7, Charlie Golf India. I did do a text check-in, but this is the first time on your net tonight.
So, there you go, Lawrence. You can let us know whether you go by Larry, Lawrence, or whatever. We can always change our nickname field. You know, I'm glad you reminded me, Lawrence, to our text check-in people, please only text in once. Like he said, there was several at the beginning before the net started that had texted in multiple times. It just makes it that much harder. So please, just try to do it once. You should get a response back. We lose our responses after 100, but I don't think we're going to reach that tonight. That's cumulative for a 24-hour period. That means this morning, so if we had 60 this morning, we still have 40 to go tonight. So it won't be till the end of the net that you might not get a response. And we're working on fixing that as well. So just try to only text in once. It just makes it so much easier. Anyway, good evening, KM7CGI. You are new, and you've never been on here before, but you have been you're in the system. You just haven't been on this net. Good evening, and our question one more time. What is the furthest direct UHF-VHF contact in miles that you have ever made? This applies to everybody, whether it be an HT with 2 or 3 watts or whether you're running 1,000 watts. Good evening.
When UHF was 17 miles, meters, but I did get 85 miles. But as far as radio, back to net.
Hey, Lawrence, Vicky, I guess she's kind of going to categorize here 75 to 100 miles for those of you that are following along on our log sheet. Rather than put it down to try to keep it to a manageable level here tonight. Lawrence, you go by, you want us to leave you in the Lawrence story, or do you go by Larry, or you got a nickname? We can change it if you like.
Larry's fine. Yeah, I do go by Larry. Thank you for asking that.
All right, after midnight, you will be known as Larry here on the East Coast Reflector. Who else do I have tonight? Larry kind of broke the ice. Who else do we have? New stations that have never checked into this net before. You saw Hillsborough, North Carolina roll up. Is there somebody there? Anybody, anywhere? If you've never checked into this net before, please give us your call sign. Good boy. Vicky heard you. She's wearing a headset. I really think there's something wrong with that repeater there. It's consistent every week. The low audio. Guys need to maybe get to the repeater owner. It's got to be on. It's got to be on the what are the All-Star? It's got to be on the All-Star side. They need to crank up their outbound. But we'll try to hear you. Wake Forest, North Carolina. W4ECH. Good evening. that, Edward, if you can. W4ECH, just crawl right into the microphone. I think we'll be able to hear you all right.
W4ECH. Yeah, this is my first time on the net, and also first contact. I just got my license probably about 3 weeks ago.
Well, thanks, Edward. You're kind of noisy into the repeater, but we got Vicki just with her good ears. She just said a couple weeks. Congratulations on your license, and welcome to the East Coast Reflector. Obviously, that's a vanity call sign. I'll ask you the question. Maybe tonight's your first. What is your furthest UHF-VHF contact, direct contact that you have made? Have you made any direct contacts? Oh, we'll move along, Mary. Maybe Edward's having problems getting into that repeater. It's a little noisy, but yeah, to the repeater owner, WR4AGC 220 repeater in Hillsborough, North Carolina. Got something going on there. It's been consistently low audio coming to us for a number of weeks. If you could bring it up, would be appreciated, and we could hear everybody just fine. What else do I have? New stations that have never checked into this net before. Call signs twice. Once again, this is Dick, WB2JPQ.
Kilo Mike 4 Lima Whiskey Cam 4 LLW.
Hi, Bob. KM4LLW from Melbourne, Florida. Good evening to you, Bob. Welcome.
Well, good evening, and although my QRZ tells you that I'm in Florida, I'm actually speaking to you from a secondary address that we have in Asheville, North Carolina this evening. Appreciate you calling the net. I can't remember if I've checked in on this net or not. I've checked in on a number of the East Coast nets and always enjoy every one of them. But I am coming to you on DMR through Grandmaster on the 3129973 phone group, I guess, not the your one that you referenced earlier. And I am speaking to you on a Sharp M1KE. So anyway, back to you.
Your audio seems to be down a little bit. I don't think there's a bridge problem, so you might want to think about bringing it up a little bit. But you are readable. Our question tonight, if you were listening, what is the furthest UHF or VHF direct contact you have made in miles, Bob?
Well, my answer would have to be 0 since I have never tried either one of those. But I heard someone before you started asking the question that threw out an answer of 50. Anyway, that sounds good to me, but I really could not tell you.
Certainly nothing wrong with that answer, Bob. I'm sure there's many tonight that'll have the same answer. But maybe tonight might spark some interest with people, and they might just see what they can do. It's always fun to play with antennas and see how far you can make a direct contact. Thanks for being here, Bob. And yeah, it does show Melbourne, and That's obviously your licensing point. Who else do I have new to this net? If you've never checked in here before, give us your call sign. We'll get you up to the top of the list. KJ5LZR, Kilo Juliet 5, Lima Zulu Romeo, Chris, San Antonio. We got you from San Antonio, KJ5LZR. And we're not sure the other one kind of doubled. It might be a KG5NC or something like that, the other station, and I believe that came from the KT repeater somewhere around Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Alpha Golf 5, November Charlie in Cortland, New York.
Alpha Golf 5, November Charlie. Okay. Looks like Doug. There we go. Let's go to you, Christopher. Good evening. St. Angelo, Texas, KJ5LZR. You are new to the net, both of you are. And what's your furthest direct contact on UHF-VHF, Christopher? Roger that, yeah. I'm not sure exactly how far it was, but I haven't had too many actual direct contacts. I usually use repeaters. But fun fact, I was on a CB radio, which I guess that falls under 10 meter, 11 meter. I had a 714 mile transmission on channel 19 from San Antonio, Texas to Hattiesburg, Mississippi. So that's my furthest contact in general. This is KJ5LZR, back to net. Nope, we're not going to count 11 for ham radio operators. So you want to guess again on UHF or VHF, I'll take a number, but nope, we're not going to go into skip conditions on 11 meters by no means. Let me move on to Douglas. AG5NC. Good evening to you, Douglas, and you go by Doug. Douglas, we can always change it here, first time user to the system.
I don't really worry about it. Doug's fine. Bands opened up one winter with some unusually warm conditions. We were hearing police traffic, and we didn't know where they were. They said that they were in Tampa, Florida, and so we swapped over to 652 and was able to talk from Biloxi, Mississippi to Tampa, Florida in some tropospheric ducting. Now, I don't know the math, so y'all figure out the mileage. AG5NC.
Well, there you go. That's fun. What do you think that is? 400 miles? Good guess. Doug, you think that's 350, 400 miles? What do you think?
I really don't know. Mobile, y'all figure it out. AG5NC.
Leave that up to the callers in the Zoom room. What else do we have? Make this last call for new stations to this net, and we'll get to the technical part of the program here tonight. Anybody else like to get on the list as new to this net?
November 4 Delta India X-ray and 4 DIX.
Well, there's the voice of Harvest, Alabama. Hi, Brent. N4DIX. Good evening to you, sir. Welcome.
thank you. Yeah, definitely first time on the net, but been on the radio a long time. So I was years and years ago living in Utah, driving down the freeway and scanning the 2-meter band, and heard a couple of guys talking, and I thought, I've never heard anybody on this frequency before, and gave them a call back. Turned out they were in Portland, Oregon, about 850 miles away, and had a very brief back and forth QSO, and then they were gone. So my one and only experience with tropospheric ducting, but that was pretty cool. Anyway, back to you.
It could be tough to beat that tonight, Brent. Ricky's got you down for 800 plus, so thanks for being there. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, back in the day, before VoIP and all this repeater linking, it was rare. If you heard somebody outside your call district, it was really big stuff if you were on Simplex. So it's a great challenge. Thanks for being there. All right, let's see what we have tonight with stations with amateur radio related questions. If you got a question tonight, please give me your call sign. We'll try to field it. I'm not sure if David or Charles are here tonight, but I think maybe they are. So, stations with questions. This is Dick, WB2JPQ.
November 0, Charlie Kilo Victor, and 0 CKB.
Well, hi, Mark, and 0 CKB. Good evening to you, and if you'd like to answer our question, we'll take one from you.
I would say 20 miles is the furthest I've done on VHF simplex. And then my question, and remember there's no such thing as a dumb question. It's probably naivety on my part. But I have a DMR radio, and I want to know if I can use just the radio itself to connect to the ECR. And 0 CKB back to net.
We need to find a gateway in, Mark. It's a common asked question. We get this question all the time, and not so much on here, but in our other forums. But you need a gateway. Either you're going to need your own hotspot, or find a DMR repeater in your area, and find out if our talk groups are open. Some repeaters do not have all talk groups open, so they might have to open our talk group. But that's what you'd have to do: either get your own hotspot, so you can talk into from your radio to the hotspot to the internet to one of our bridges, or find a repeater in your area that is a DMR repeater. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. That's what I suspected. Thank you very much. And 0 CKB back to net.
And we have many ways to get in here. If you're on our Facebook page, like I said, the magazine went up today, and there's a full page. Well, actually, on Facebook, I posted it this morning with all of our access points in there with our new Brandmeister and so forth. So there are other ways other than Echolink that you might find suitable. And speaking of questions, I didn't mention this, but the first and third Thursdays of every week every month at 8 o'clock is Ask an Elmer, Be an Elmer, and we have a lot of great questions that are brought up there, and that's this Thursday. So if you're not doing anything, drop by, Mark, and join us at 8 o'clock East Coast time in our East Coast Reflector Zoom room. Or if we have stations with an amateur radio related question. Kilo Echo 8, Whiskey Oscar Juliet. Yeah, good evening. Don't see it popping up yet. The KEH station. Go ahead and answer our question, and maybe we didn't quite get your call sign, or maybe my computer's running a little slow here. Go ahead and give us your call sign again, and we'll get you in here. Good evening. Yes, sir. Good evening, and thanks for taking my call. It's Kilo Echo 8, Whiskey Oscar Juliet. Rick in Southeast Michigan. Yeah, we got you, Rick. Not only my voice going, I think my eyesight's going here tonight. Ricky popped it up as soon. So answer our question, and we'll take one from you. Well, I can understand things going out on you. Everything on me is just about quit too. Looks like ham radio is the only hobby I got left that I can still physically handle. And I apologize. I came in the middle here, and I'm not sure what your question is. Our question tonight is, what's the furthest that you have talked on UHF or VHF directly? What's your furthest UHF, VHF contact? Oh, okay. I was cruising 2 meter one evening, or actually one afternoon, and I saw a nice strong signal on the waterfall on a 991A, and tuned in there, and it turned out to be a repeater in West Virginia, and I'm in Southeast Michigan, so I threw my call out there, and they kind of freaked out and said, you're not in our state, you know. And we had a nice long conversation. It was pretty interesting. I enjoyed the heck out of it, and I also got my first QSO card from there. Pat, just give us what you think that is in mileage, and go ahead and ask your question if you would, please. Yes, sir. I'm thinking that's somewhere around 200 miles. I'm guessing. I can check it when I get in on the computer there. My question is, you brought it up a little bit earlier. I'm kind of a new DMR infant also, just a few months. I have a node and a hotspot, and I also have some DMR repeaters in the area, a couple of them that I can talk to. And I'm curious if it's proper etiquette to, like for instance, the one repeater that I use lists about 7 talk groups on their repeater. But the CPS software allows me to, set up the repeater of frequencies and tones and all that. No tones on the DMR anyway. But and I can also set up the talk group other than what's listed on the page for that repeater. So is that a no-no? Can you go outside of the 7 list groups that they have, or would that mess up the repeater operator or owner? I don't want to be doing that kind of thing. Well, this kind of varies, Rick. There isn't a hard, fast rule. Usually, and I use the word usually as a key word here, if the C-bridge, if it's open to the world, they don't care if you use it. If they have it locked down to, what'd you say, 6 or 7 talk groups, there might be a reason for it. They only want you to operate on those 6 or 7 talk groups. So you really need to talk to the club repeater owner and find out what their preference is. It's just like back in the days, IRLP. They're IRLP repeaters, but does the repeater owner want every Tom, Dick, and Harry controlling that IRLP node and connecting to different places? That's up to the club or again the trustee, the node owner. So it's always good practice to go and try to get a hold of the repeater owner or somebody in power and find out what their procedure is and start in that way rather than getting somebody upset with you before you get in. Hear my response, Rick. I know we had a Huntsville station keying up. I just took them offline. Yes, sir. If you mean the response about it'd be a good idea to talk to the repeater owner, then yes, I heard that. Thank you very much. And I kind of figured that that's probably the case there. Just to be safe, I could email the owner and find out from him what they prefer and don't prefer. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Great net and great for you guys doing this. Have a good, safe night and the weekend, everybody out there, and we'll catch you later. KE8WOJ. Good question. I'm sure others had the same question, Rick. That does come up often, and if they do have to open up the Sea Bridge or whatever they got going, be sure to give them. And you want ours, be sure to give them both of our talk groups. Also, I have stations with an amateur radio related question. I guess Charles and David, if you're there, I guess everybody's got all their answers here tonight. Somebody must have a question. Amateur radio related questions. Going once, twice, three times. Call signs twice. KJ5LZR, KJ5LZR, Chris for San Antonio, once again.
N0, Mike Sierra Sierra.
Good evening to you from Wapaton, North Dakota. And Chris came back. Go ahead, Chris, your question, please. KJ5LZR. Thanks for having me again. So I'm talking through an all-star node right now using a cell phone for my internet connection. The problem I've been having is anytime I'm on the East Coast Reflector or even the Crossroads link, that when someone with Echo Link comes on, I'll hear them speak, and then it cuts off no audio, and then I can hear them unkey, key back up, catch a few words, and then drops out like packet loss, but only when it's Echo Link to my node. Do you have any idea what might cause that? And I'll listen back. KJ5LZR, back to net. Conceal that to David. One thing I do notice is that you're coming in, you're not connected directly to us. You're connecting to something in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So you've obviously added an extra hop in there, and I'm not saying that's the problem, but I don't have an answer for it. Usually, and again, the key word is usually, it's an Echo Link problem, but I don't know. Anybody, David, you want to take a stab at that if you're there? Ray David isn't there tonight. Has anybody else experienced that that problem? We're unaware of it here at the ECR. Things have been running pretty good. We do have issues every once in a while with Echolink, but it's a good platform.
That I appreciate the feedback. Yeah, I've gone directly to the East Coast Reflector, but there's about 3 different nodes I jump on that are connected. Sometimes I can't get in, so but I appreciate the help and any information you might have. KJ5LZR, back to net.
The biggest downfall with Echolink, and it really isn't downfall, because we should pause in between transmissions anyway, it takes a clear channel before you can key up. So we run into this in the morning on the morning brew where you got 150 people trying to check in, and you got these Echolink users that need a clear channel, nobody transmitting, so they can get in there and hit their push to talk. And that is the biggest problem with Echolink. It does require a clear channel for push to talk. So perhaps that's your problem, Christopher. I don't know, but try connecting directly to us and see what happens. ECR 9050 has been pretty fail-proof for Echolink. And come back, let us know. If you find a solution or a workaround, let us know. Wappington, North Dakota. Good evening, Ross. N0MSS.
Good evening to Dick and everybody on the net. So your question was, I guess my most recent long contacts, radio to radio, were to Texas and Louisiana, and not too long ago, they were, I think this spring, using just 10 watts on my end, and it was, of course, using FT8, but I was watching the DXView VHF propagation map, and there was a purple blob over Kansas City that was about as big as a state or two. So I thought, well, why not try it? So I swung the beam south and listened a bit, and I saw transmissions coming in, and I made some contacts. But that wasn't my longest. That's only about 1,100 to 1,200 miles. I've made contacts to California, Arizona, and New York on VHF. Single sideband using about 200 watts and a 17 element beam at 65 feet. So when conditions are in, I wouldn't have needed that much power or that big of an antenna, but that's what I had and was running, and that worked pretty good. And without tropospheric ducking, I can easily get at least a state away, 300 miles, 350, without conditions. You know, somebody else set up the same way. So going VHF and some horizontal boomers really extends it out. I only get about 50 to 60 miles with my FM beams, typically, to the repeat. And even on simplex, some exceptions, but anyway, yeah, that's kind of how propagation goes. I'm going to reset, and then I'll ask my question. The last ham fest. I'm going to make an 80-40 trap dipole. And the traps look like they're maybe plastic with wire wound around them and maybe like aluminum tube core. I'm sure there's some kind of separation in there, but I'm wondering, does anybody know what can I do to preserve the longevity of those a little bit more? Do I need to get some heat shrink and put on them, or can I just put some clear coating or something? Maybe somebody has an answer for that.
KC6UFM.
Nice, I guess, but 17 elements on 2, it's almost going to buy it. There we go, Charles. I just wanted to get Orange City offline. Good evening, Charles. Go ahead.
Thank you, Dick. Good evening, and good evening to everyone on the net. And yeah, Russ, what I have done in the past where I've had plastic parts like that I have questions about their suitability for UV exposure is just go to Walmart and look at
the several enamel spray paint. One I have used in the past has been the Cryon brand, and it explicitly says on the can that it is UV resistant. Prior to that, what I used to use was UV resistant polyurethane that you like put on a tabletop or something of that nature, because it's the UV that kills that plastic. So if you get something like that, it will take care of that problem for many years. And the reason I switched from the polyurethane to the Cryon rattle can stuff is comes down totally to cost. There's the smallest little bottle or can of urethane that you can buy. The last I bought was about $7, and I would use maybe a fourth of that can, and then the rest of it would just sit there and get hard in the can. Whereas the rattle can stuff is only a couple of bucks, and if you're going to do 4 or 5 or 6 traps, you're going to use up most of that, so you're not throwing away as much money. With that said, though, Ross, I think that the polyurethane actually does work better, in my opinion, and that will kind of take care of it. Back over to you, Dick, KC6 UFM.
Yeah, you're so quiet in here, but we're not that far away, so the portal does a good job. If they're on an auto reconnect, then they came right back. Who asked that question? Christopher. No, Ross answered. I'm sorry. Did that answer your question, Ross?
Yeah, that kind of expected what that might be the answer would be. I had a little hiccup. I know he said Krylon and spray paint. Was it just Krylon clear enamel, maybe? Is that what he said?
Yeah, Russ, the Krylon clear enamel, but I would also check the other brands, because the Krylon, last time I bought it, it explicitly says UV resistant. And I kind of stopped looking at that first can, but some of the others might have it all. Although I would suspect that the Walmart, what do they call theirs, Color Place, I doubt that is going to be UV resistant.
All right, and I assume I'm going to have my wires hooked up before I spray it. That way they get a little, the connections get protected as well. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, guys. That's it for my question. And 0 MSF. Back to Net.
And Ross, Ricky's looking at some numbers from you.
All right, here to California, I think it was 1,500 miles and about 1,400 in New York, and it was only 11 or 12 to Texas. So I'm going to say 1,500 miles, my longest contact, tropospheric ducting.
I certainly don't want to send the wrong person on an all-expense cruise to nowhere because we didn't get the mileage right tonight. Thanks, Ross. Who else do we have? Thanks, Charles, as well. Stations with an amateur radio related question. This is Dick WB2JPQ. What is it, 55 past the hour already?
Kilo November 6, Golf Sierra Golf. Kilo November 6, Golf Sierra Golf with a question.
Well, there's the West Coast. Moss Beach, California. Excuse my hoarseness tonight, Barry. KN6GSG. Good evening. We'll trade questions. One for us, and we'll take yours.
Well,
to answer your question on simplex FM, VHF and UHF, the furthest that I regularly go out for checking into another club is 45 miles as the crow flies. And when I'm in Washington, you see more on VHF and UHF. Again, it's another 45 miles. So works well. I use an indoor Arrow J pole here in Moss Beach, and I just have to move it occasionally to pick up the band. So my question is, with the new check-in setup of free-for-all, rather than using the numbers in our call sign, are you getting as many check-ins, more or less, with the new system? Okay, back to you, Dick.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I'm sure Vicky's probably running the numbers. She's probably got it in her head. I don't know. But this is the way, before the text, excuse me, before the text check-ins, we did this for many, many, many years. And then we started getting so many people. We used to get so many twos from the second call district that we had to divide the twos up. We used to call Long Island, kiddingly, the 1.5 call district, just for some unknown reason. And that hasn't been happening the last few years, you know, as nets go on. But I would think almost the same, Barry. I don't really know. What this net depends on the type of weather as well. In the spring and the fall, like now, it's always a slow period. Winter is busier than others. But I'll get an answer for you. Either equal or maybe we're getting a little less. I really don't know how to answer that, Barry, without having some numbers. Was there a reason that you're asking? Is there a concern?
I preferred the number system because I knew when I could call in rather than trying to squeeze in to everyone else. So it worked well for me, the previous system, that's all. And I guess I shouldn't be hoping that, well, if you're getting less, maybe we'll go back to the other system. But that's it. It's not a big deal. I can start maybe checking in with other methods besides the radio. Go online. But thanks for looking into it. And thanks for being there, and thanks for letting me chat. This is Barry Kansas, GSG, back to the net.
Well, you've been in here 70 times as of tonight, so it's nice to see your consistent. I don't know who holds the record here. I really don't. We didn't keep score for a long time, so I have 176, but I don't know when we started keeping score on this. So, but anyway, we appreciate your thoughts, and we're always open to suggestions. So don't ever hesitate to throw your hat in the ring. Who else do we have? Stations with an amateur radio related question. 59 past the hour. This is Dick. WB2JPQ.
Net control, KE2ENR, Kilo Echo 2, Echo November Romeo.
Long Island, New York. Looks like Joseph, KE2ENR. Good evening.
Good evening, Dick. Happy Tuesday. I'm not going to lie, I don't actually have a question. I just wanted to be the Long Island check-in just to make sure that those numbers don't drop off too badly. So I just wanted to make sure that the needle remained nudged so that we're still annoying to you. So just wanted to put that out there. So back to net control on that. KE2ENR clear.
Yeah, I don't know. If there's something that goes on the island. I mean, we used to get, I don't know, I'll bet you we had 15, 20 check-ins from the island alone, you know, years back. But, you know, there's other nets that, several other nets that are the same time as ours. You know, people go where they want, obviously. Our number of connections goes up. We got 450 connections here just on the analog side alone tonight. So, you know, certainly our connections haven't gone down, but maybe the questions have. Anyway, who else do we have? Stations with an amateur radio related question. Boy, we heard something from 8786, the Ohio repeater, but you're in the noise and your audio is extremely low. You want to try it one more time?
HT not making it. November 8th, Zulu, Lima, Quebec. Good evening all.
That was a little better. Give us the call sign again, November 8th something, and go ahead and try to answer our question if you could, and we'll take one from you. Please give us your call sign twice so we can get it in here. I think as long as you talk up, stand still, it might be good if you're on an HT.
November 8th, Zulu, Lima, Quebec. November 8th, Zulu, Lima, Quebec. Name is Jim, Monroe, Michigan, via repeater in Toledo.
Okay, now, Jim, go ahead. Care to answer our question? We'll take one from you, please.
Since my call, when I earned it, was an end call towards the end of the end, has the vanity call availability really been beneficial towards the amateurs in general?
I don't know if I missed something in there. Is that a question, Jim? Are you asking if the vanity call program has been beneficial? Is that the question?
Affirmative on the call, affirmative on the question. Affirmative on the question.
Out to our listening audience, I would certainly think so. There's a million people using vanity call signs today, but let's get a couple of comments. Who'd like to give Jim their feedback on whether the vanity program that was started way back when is beneficial?
W2 BLT.
Scott, I just did a quick Google here. It looks like May 1996 is when the vanity program first came out. I thought it was earlier than that, but I'm sorry, 1996. Go ahead, Scott.
I think the vanity program has worked. If you look at it from a point of CW, you can use it. You can set it up so it's easy to key, or like mine with a BLT on the end. Nobody forgets that call, and it's kind of easy to remember it once you hear it. But for that reason, I think it's worked.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Anybody else want to make a comment? I certainly do. Think it works.
N1 NEW, November 1, November Echo Whiskey. I'd like to comment on it.
I'd like to have your comment, Mike, from Pembroke Pines, Florida, N1 NEW. Good evening.
Good to talk to you again. It's kind of a two-part answer. First off, the word beneficial needs to be defined. And the second thing is, are you get the call sign you want? Not necessarily. I mean, there's millions available, but getting what you want, maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't. That's about the only answer I've got. N1 NEW, back to net.
K7 FPS. K7 FPS.
November 4, Romeo Hotel Echo. November 4, Romeo Hotel Echo. Right, I'll take three more quick comments. I got Roger in Fort Lauderdale, I got Chris in Hollywood, and I got Fred in Reno. Fred, go ahead with your comment, please.
Well, I recently changed mine, and I actually wrote up all of the steps. Just because you get a vanity call sign, you have to jump through a number of hoops. QRZ is one of them straight away. Radio ID for your DMR ID is another one. If you have apps on your phone, you gotta change all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of moving parts depending on what you have. And there may be a write-up in a future newsletter. Anyway, back to net, K7 FPS clear.
Thank you, Fred, and yeah, I think we got something coming from you, so thank you for doing that. Chris in Hollywood, KQ4UPK, good evening.
Dick and everybody on the net. I'm going to actually just say, Fred, you took the words right out of my mouth, and I'll leave it at that. So I'll send it back to net control, KQ4UPK.
And Roger, and for RAG, good evening to you.
Good evening, Dick, and the net, November 4, Roger Ham Enthusiast. My middle name is Hamden, my surname is Elliott, so it's beneficial in that I can write Sharpie on my personal items as I type out my name. And regarding tonight's question, my furthest to the west has been to Fort Myers, it's 141 miles, and the furthest to the north is to Waycross, Georgia, which is 408 miles. Usually happens in the winter and usually early in the morning. November 4, Roger Ham Enthusiast. Return to net.
Thanks for having the mileage for Vicky to put in. The net go a little bit quicker when we get to the Scott and Roger's portion of the net. So if you got a number, rather than saying Florida to North Carolina, if you can just Google it real quick and come up with a number for us, we'll make things easier up here in Mission Control. Thanks, Roger. Anything else? Or Mike, did that answer your question? Let me go back to Mike, N1 NEW. I think it's the best we can do.
Yeah, this is N1 NEW. I did not ask the question. I commented on it. I said, well, I'm not even sure I can remember, but I did not ask you a question. N1 NEW, back to net.
My apologies. I scrolled down. That was Jim's question coming in on the Toledo repeater. Thank you, Mike. Anyway, Jim, did that answer your question? Must have a little inversion tonight. It's 3/4 of the way down the state of New York coming into Buffalo, so either that or that's Toledo coming in, one or the other across the lake, but must have a little bit of lifting here tonight in western New York. Thanks, Jim. Take one more amateur radio related question. At 12 past the hour here, we got Scott and Roger coming up. One more amateur radio related question.
N6QDY, N6QDY.
David from Sacramento.
Hello, Dick and the net. Enjoying the Tech Net here. Gosh, I don't remember what year this was. I want to say it was early 90s. And tropoducting. I was getting tropospheric ducting. I lived in San Jose at the time. And I talked through a repeater on I don't remember if it was Oahu. It was VHF, Oahu, or if it was Maui, but I forget which one. And I figure that's 2,300 miles, 2,500 miles. And it was either early 90s or late 80s back in the day. So, yeah, it was like 2,300 to 2,500 miles.
Well, it'll be tough to beat that one. Thanks, David. And you had an amateur radio related question for us tonight?
More so for parts. I have an old VXR 5000 VHF, and probably about a few years back, I was tuning the helical resonator, or one of the coils, I think, and I cracked the core. My question is, do they still, for these older radios, do they still have a store online where I can buy parts to replace the core or the coil or the whole thing? If you remember the VXR 5000, the Vertex. So mainly I'm just looking for a place that might still sell those cores.
We'll put it out to the group, but VXR, you're talking a repeater, correct? That's a repeater, the VXR 5000, am I not correct?
100%, that's correct. And I'm open to suggestions too, so, but yes, that's correct.
The part number, I would certainly think, I have no way to back this, but I would certainly think you should be able to get replacement parts that old of maybe 20 years, 25 years, something like that, but, you know, there's nothing in there that's unique to the Vertex. Those are, you know, OEM parts in there. I don't think there's anything that unique. Anybody got a suggestion for David? Yeah, why don't you try to give us a part number next time you're in Zoom in the morning or whenever, and be a good discussion for 9:30 in the morning after the morning brew, Dave. Maybe we can see what we can come up with for you. How's that?
Perfect. I'll go ahead and do that. I'll even take some pictures and whatnot too. But yeah, all right. I just thought I'd ask. Thanks, Dick. Have a good evening. Appreciate it. N6QDY.
4ZYQ.
Go ahead. ZYQ.
Well, I tried to get in between a lot earlier. That it was pretty packed, and you got a good turnout tonight for the net. But I'd like to give a smile or a groan to most everybody on frequency. The name's here in Clinton Township, Michigan, KE4ZYQ. And the question is, how many ham radio operators does it take to change a light bulb? And the answer is many hours debating which bulb gives the better illumination. And that's meant to be funny, not put down. So that KE4ZYQ.
You bought a light bulb lately because you have to have a degree to go to a store and buy a light bulb in this day and age. It is not an easy matter, trust me. You go into Home Depot, there's 30 feet of light bulbs. Where do you start? It has to do with the mood you're in, and believe me, if you haven't done it, treat yourself. All right, that's it for me. I'm going to send it over to, where was it supposed to go, to Roger? No, to Scott. Going to go to Scott tonight. Our text check-ins are first. We alternate, as I said earlier. Scott's going to take 10 text check-ins, which Vicky's got in queue here, people that have already texted in. Then he's going to send it over to Roger, and Roger's going to take 10 radio check-ins, and we'll alternate back and forth. So I will see you tomorrow morning on the open for, I guess I'm going to be doing pretty much the whole route tomorrow. I think Scott might be with me, and Bill, I'm not sure. Vicky's on assignment tomorrow, so we're going to be stumbling along. So thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Over to you, Scott. This is WB to JPQ.
Thank you, Dick. This is Scott, W2BLT, doing the Strange Evening gig tonight. Let me acknowledge the first 10 text check-ins we have, and then we'll run them. We had KD2JPP, Bob, KC6, UFM, Charles, KK4, SED, Les, KD3ATQ, Jim, KA8BYU, Roy, KI4, EGQ, Bill, KQ4GLY, Chris, W2SAL, Sal, and K5HLH, Harry, and WA2UUS, Joel. Question of the evening is, what's the furthest you've made a direct UHF-VHF contact in miles? Because I don't have any way to check the mileage if you say you talk from New York to Tupelo. So let's go to KD2JPP, Bob in Gallatin, Tennessee. Good evening, Bob.
KO4CLD, KO4CLD.
Okay, I'll try it now. Hello, Scott, and everybody else on the net. I Googled it, like Dick said, because of where I am in Tennessee. I'm in like a cup surrounded by a mountain range, so I only get out 30 miles on UHF-VHF, so that's my number, 30. Everybody have a great night, great week.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. You have yourself a great evening. Charles, KC6UFM in Guatay, California. Good evening, Charles.
Yeah, good evening, Scott, and everyone on the Tech Net tonight. This is Charles, KC6UFM, coming to you from beautiful downtown Guatay, California, the former home of Dennis the Catman. Many thanks to Vicky for logging tonight, and you and Roger and Dick for herding cats this evening. As far as the question is concerned, I don't know if I should divide this up into the bands or what, because for many, many years I was seriously into VHF and UHF weak signal work. Overall, my longest communication simplex, if you will, was on 6 meters, and that was just a little bit shy of 6,000 miles. At the other end of the spectrum, on 70 sonometers CW, I worked about 1,300 miles at one point, and 2 meters kind of falls in between there. But so the absolute record, about 6,000 miles if you want to go that route. But because officially, 6 meters is VHF, but it acts a whole lot more like HF than it does VHF. But in any event, Scott, not too much happening around here this evening. I do want to remind everyone that the ECR magazine coming out here in the next few days, and I know it's on Facebook and YouTube already, but there's an article in there that'll help you communicate very long distances with UHF and VHF. The Antenna Farm looked at a handheld Yagi for satellite and ISS work, so you can build that little puppy and communicate literally halfway around the world with your HT. So anyway, I'll pass it back over to you, Scott. Everyone take care, stay safe, and 7-3. This is KC6 UFM, back to net control.
Alrighty, have a good night, Charles. Thanks for joining us. KK4 SED, West in Claremont, Florida. Good evening.
Waiting to modify it for different rigs. I think it had a high and low.
I'm going to say 90 miles. That would be from Erie to Cleveland. KK4 SED, back to net.
Alrighty, thanks, Les. Appreciate you joining us. Have a good night. KD3 ATQ, Jim down in Easton, Pennsylvania. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott, Vicky, Dick, and the rest of the net. I guess the longest so far has only been about 20 miles. Some of these distances I'm hearing, it's quite a lightweight, but that's for now. Back to net control, KD3 ATQ.
Alrighty, thank you, Jim. Appreciate you joining us tonight. KA8BYU, Roy in Blaisdell, New York. Good evening, Roy.
Good evening, everybody. On the TechNet, KA8BYU. On 2 meters, it was about 176 miles to an aeronautical mobile that was somewhere over, and I was in Ohio at the time. 220. It was about 146 miles. Talked to a station that was just north of Detroit the one day on 223.5 simplex. And on 440, I think the longest I've had is like about 70 miles. So that's pretty good, I guess.
Alrighty, thank you, Roy. You have a good evening. Appreciate you joining us. KI4 EGQ, Bill in Woodstock, Georgia. Good evening.
Well, good evening, everyone on the TechNet, KI4 EGQ in Woodstock, Georgia. I think the longest, UHF contact was, back in the 80s. We had flown in a small plane from Spartanburg, South Carolina to Cincinnati, and coming back, got up to altitude and had a walkie-talkie for the TV station I was working for, and keyed it up and talked to another TV station in Raleigh, North Carolina. So that was just figured that out to be about 350 miles. So hey, antenna height makes all the difference, right? Anyway, hope everybody has a great evening. KI4 EGQ.
Thank you, Bill. You have a great night. Appreciate you joining us. Next up, KQ4 GLY, Chris in Paris, Florida. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott, and everyone on the net. On my VHF simplex, probably about 8 miles. Back to you.
Alrighty, thank you, Chris. 8 to 10 miles. Yeah, we got it. Have a good evening. Next up, Sal, W2SAL in Cheektowaga, New York. Good evening, Sal. Was my radio goofed, or did I miss that whole thing? Well, we'll try it again. You got a copy of me now? Alright, maybe it was the button I was pressing and my mic wasn't working. From Dansville to North Java, about 30 miles I'll round it out at. With that, I'll send it back to you, Scott. Say hello to all the ones in the brew crew. And, we're clear, W2SAL. Alrighty, Sal. You have a good night and thanks for joining us. K5 HLH, Harry in Grants, New Mexico. Good evening, Harry, and what's the furthest direct UHF or VHF contact in miles you've made?
K5 HLH here in Grants, New Mexico. I'm at 5,500 feet above sea level, and I made contact at 17 miles with a photo unit on 11,000 feet. And he relayed another station 100 miles away that said they could hear me, but he could never get back to me. So I guess legally 17, 18 miles, the 100-mile station, I guess doesn't count, because he could hear me, but I couldn't hear him. Back to that, K5 HLH 73.
Alrighty, Harry. Thanks for joining us. You have a good night. And the last one on this first list, WA2 UUS, Joel in Buffalo, New York. Good evening, Joel.
Everybody else on the net, answer the question tonight. I'm sort of in a dead zone in North Buffalo, and I'm lucky if I could reach 25 miles directly with UHF-VHF. And if it wasn't for the Diamond X50A up in my attic, I probably wouldn't reach the repeaters that really give me distance. I wish everybody a nice week ahead. Be well and be safe. Thank you, Scott and Vicky.
Alrighty, thank you, Joel. And I'm just about in the same predicament as you are. Have a great evening. Alrighty, we're going to turn over to Roger. Let him take some radio check-ins here. This is W2BLT.
Well, thank you, Mr. Scott. Appreciate it. This is KO42MM in Central Florida. Beautiful day here. And thank you, Vicky, for keeping me on the right path. K8BKY. And everybody that appreciates the little challenge, wants to push the PTT button, you're welcome to get in tonight in the logbook. And if you're just coming in and listening, this is the East Coast Reflector Tech Net night, Tuesday, 8 o'clock. Everybody's welcome to get in and check out eastcoastreflector.com. You'll see a lot there. All right, on that note, everybody that would like to get in tonight, come with your call sign, twice and slow.
82 V4 GDS. 84 GDS. KO4 CLD.
KO4CLD.
This is 9Y4DX. 9 Yankee 4 Delta X-ray, virtual.
Roger, 7 Whiskey Oscar Hotel, K7WOH.
India, Delta, Delta.
Victor 44 Hotel Echo, V44 Hotel Echo.
V44
All right, from the bottom up, we got V4 Edward, St. Kitts, and we got Marty, Troutdale, Oregon, KJ7WOH, Bertrand, Trinidad and Tobago, 9Y4DX, and we got Micah. We heard you the first time there, Micah, but you got your rhymes crossed there. Tuscumba, Alabama, KO4CLD, and we got Gil, Orlando, Florida, K4GDS, and Dan, KD2VNU. I was wondering if we were going to hear from you, Dan. I know you're always talking about that chasing the isotropic path or whatever you call it. Hey, let's go to you, KD2VNU. Good evening, Dan.
Well, since we're talking simplex, 6-meter simplex across the lake to Canada, about 30 miles. Everybody have a good evening and hope all is well. KD2VNU.
All is well here, my friend. Hope all is well there. Good hearing from you. Let's move on to Gil, Orlando, Florida, K4GDS. How about it, Gil? What is your furthest direct VHF, UHF contact in miles that you've made? Over.
Direct operator to operator, according to Google Maps, it was 26.2 miles from Orlando up to Mineola, although I have hit the Orlando ECR repeater from much, much further away in the mornings occasionally. K4GDS back to net.
QSL, sounds like you got it down there. Pretty nice. Let's move on to my buddy Micah, Tuscumba, Alabama, KO4CLD. Good evening, Micah. KO4CLD here. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to do that earlier. Well, I'd have to say the furthest contact would be someone in Huntsville on a repeater, but I also did make a contact using the International Space Station's repeater, which went all the way to Texas. So, you know, that was 270 miles, but it wasn't simplex. But I guess you could say I was able to hit the repeater, but it wasn't really a contact, and that would be about 270 miles to the International Space Station. So however you want to look at it, but 60 miles for true simplex. KO4CLD, back to you. No problem getting you in there, Micah. Always appreciate you joining us. And Vicky got you in there. So have a great evening, and we'll catch you next time. Let's move on to my buddy Bertrand at Trinidad and Tobago. 9Y4DX. Good evening, Bertrand.
Well, a pleasant evening to you, Net Control, Roger. KO4QMM, this is 9Y4EX Bertrand. And you're correct, my location, Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. Let me say a pleasant evening to all of the station on the East Coast Reflector Tech Net this evening, this Tuesday evening, the last Tuesday of September. In fact, it's the last day. I hope everyone is doing well. But with respect to the question, I think I made a 30-mile contact from Trinidad to Tobago. That was the furthest I ever reached. I haven't gone further than that in the Caribbean. So that's it from me. Back to you, Net Control, KO4QMM. This is 9Y4EX.
Thank you for joining us tonight, Bertrand, as always. Miles of smiles of DXing. It's fun. Let's move on to Marty, Troutdale, Oregon. K7WOH. How about it, Marty? What was your furthest direct VHF, UHF contact in miles that you've made? Over.
Yeah, well, thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. I would have to say it was on 14652. I did QSO with a gentleman in a Piper Cherokee. Looking at the map, it's about 40 miles north of here. Thanks for doing the net. KJ7WOH.
Thanks for joining us this evening and answering our fun questions. You have a great evening. Let's move on to V4HE Edward, St. Kitts and Nevis. That sounds like a nice place. I have to check that out on the internet. Edward, what is the furthest direct VHF, UHF contact you've made? Over.
Okay, good evening, Net Controller, good evening to all on frequency. My call is V44 Teleco. The first VHF contact we make is Guadeloupe in the Caribbean. That's the first we make contact, simplex, over.
QSL, my friend, thanks for coming with us tonight and enjoying the TechNet. That's it for me, so get ready to hit your PTT switch after Scott gets done with 10 text, and we'll do it again. Over to you, Scott. This is KO4QMM. Clear.
Thank you, Roger. This is W2BLT. Let me acknowledge these text check-ins here. We had K6AAN, Mike, KQ4 UPK, Chris, W2AJR, Andy, W2RBC, Randy, K1 TAQ, David, KI5 PMI, Bill, and KF4 ACB, Terry. Let's go to the top of this list. Mike, Valley Springs, California, K6AAN. Good evening. We'll come back to Mike in a minute here. Let's go to KQ4 UPK, Chris in Hollywood, Florida. Good evening, Chris. And what's the furthest you've made a direct VHF, UHF contact in miles, please?
Scott, thanks for holding the net here, and appreciate it as always. Thank you, Vicky, for logging, and hey to everybody on the net. My longest 2-meter contact was going to the west coast of Florida, Sanibel Island, and to be honest with you, I really don't know how many miles that is, so I would just guess probably 400 miles. So mark me down for 400 miles. Thanks. KQ4 UPK, back to net control. Thanks, Scott.
Alrighty, Chris, you have yourself a good evening. Thanks for joining us. W2 AJR Andy in Cheektowaga, New York. Good evening, Andy.
Good evening, Scott. Everybody on the net. That'll be 240 miles on UHF. A buddy of mine was on his way here from Ohio, and I caught him just outside the Pennsylvania-Ohio border. So 240 for me. Thank you. 7-3, everybody. Have a great week.
240 miles. Yes, that's quite a ways there, Andy. And that was all simplex. That's cool. You have yourself a good evening. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you again soon. Who we got next here? W2 RBC, Randy, West Seneca. Good evening, Randy.
Good evening, Scott, Vicky, and everyone on the Tech Net. My longest VHF contact was only about 40 miles. It was between 4 Mile Creek and Lakeside State Parks on the shores of Lake Ontario. I was using my 991A and a mag mount antenna on my motorhome. Back to net control, 73 to all, W2 RBC.
All right, thanks, Randy. You have yourself a good day, and good luck parking when you get home. Let's go to K1 at TAQ, David, over in Anchorage, Alaska. Good evening, David.
Hey, good evening. Yeah, hey to everyone on the net. Thanks everyone for running the net. My longest VHF simplex contact would be from my home in South Anchorage using a QRZ1 handheld that has only 5 watts all the way up to a station in Eagle River. So that's like 6 miles direct line of sight, and I was able to reach him on 14652 and on 446. I have been able to use a Kenwood V75 on full power, so I think that's 7 watts from the Kenai Peninsula in south of Anchorage all the way up to a repeater that's up near Wasilla. So I did that in Google Maps. That's a 71-mile pass, but again, that's to a repeater. And that was only 10 days ago when I was hunting for moose. But yeah, K1 TAQ. Thanks everyone. 73, back to net.
Alrighty, thank you, David. You have yourself a great evening. This is W2BLT. Next up, KI5 PMI, Bill, Hobbs, New Mexico. Good evening, Bill.
Good evening, Scott, and everybody on the roof, on the net. I did 90 miles one time on 2 meters down to Odessa, Texas, so that was the first I've been. KI5 PMI, back in it.
Well, that was a good trip. Have a great evening. KF4 ACB, Terry in Harrogate, Tennessee. Good evening.
Everybody get ready to suspend your disbelief. From Harrogate, Tennessee, right here where Tennessee, Kentucky, and Virginia all three meet, to Johnson City, Texas, south of Austin, 1,121 miles by road. I don't know what that would be by air. During a tropospheric ducking event, talked to a guy in Johnson City, Texas for about 10 minutes before it faded out. And have the QSL card to prove it, and he does too.
Sounds good. That must have been fun. You have yourself a great night, Terry. Thanks for being here. Let's go back up to the top here to K6AAN, Mike, in Valley Springs, California. See if he's there yet. Are you there, Mike? Nothing heard. Let's turn it back to Roger. Let him take a bunch of radio check-ins here. It's all yours, Roger. This is W2BLT.
Mr. Scott, this is KO4QMM, Roger in Central Florida. I'll be taking the call-ins. Between the text-ins and the call-ins, everybody should get in. And if you'd like to get in tonight, come with your call sign, twice and slow. Let's try to get a good pile in. Come on.
Whiskey Bravo 5, Oscar X-Ray Quebec, Jim in Mobile.
K7 FPS, K7 FPS.
AC4BR, Alpha Charlie 4, Bravo Romeo.
Portable in Tonawanda.
All right, we got 4 in there. KE2EXG, Adam, Tonawanda, New York. K4BR, Brian, Monticello, Kentucky. K7FPS, Fred, Reno, Nevada. WB5OX via mobile, Woodway, Texas. All right, this is your last chance to get in and answer our question of the evening. You don't want to be saying, oh, I missed out on the net. So this is it. Come with your call sign, twice and slow. KR4FLZ. KR4FLZ.
One in Tonawanda, you got wrong. It's KD2GCL.
Kilo 5 Yankee November Uniform, K5 YNU, Florin and Cairo, Texas.
All right, that's looking a little better there. And we got you, Gene, Fairhaven, New Jersey. Sorry about that. And bottom up, K5YNU, Florin, Conroe, Texas. And KR4FLZ, Brandon, Winter Springs, Florida. We got Eugene. And that's it. Let's go to the top. WB5OXQ, Jim via mobile, Woodway, Texas. What is the farthest direct VHF-UHF contact you've made? Over.
This is WB5OXQ. Well, it's kind of a combination. It went through a repeater, but the repeater that I went through was 250 miles from my house in Waco, Texas. It's over in Natchitoches, Louisiana. And then the connection I made was in Jackson, Mississippi, 500 miles away, but it did go through a repeater halfway. So I'd say that was pretty unusual. That happened quite a few years ago. I had a single 11 element beam about 20 feet above the ground and a 25-watt radio.
Yes, I'd have to say that was pretty cool there. Vicky got you down for 200-300 miles. Thanks for joining us this evening, James. We'll be looking for you down the road. Let's move on to Fred, Reno, Nevada, K7FPS. How about it, Fred? Good evening.
Well, good evening, Roger, and everyone on the net. I'm going to go with a boring 15 miles, 1-5,
Yeah, I gotta get out more. Anyway, K7 FPS, back to net.
No worries, Fred. That's about how many miles I've got. Not too far. Let's move on to Brian, Monticello, Kentucky, AC4BR. Good evening, Brian.
Good evening, Roger, and Vicki, and everybody on the net. Well, Fred's got me beat. I think the only simplex contact I had, period, which I call it a couple failures to launch with my previous licenses. But anyway, I finally got in with a local club, and that's newly formed, and been doing more, and of course discovered the ECR, so that helped quite a bit. But I'd say about 3 miles, somewhere in that vicinity. He wasn't too far away, running on 2 meter simplex. So that was back in 2012 when I first got my technician license. Anyway, I was going to change my answer to inches. Old Scott ruined it and said we had to say it in miles, but so I sounded more impressive. But nah, I'm kidding. But anyway, I'll turn it back to you, Roger. Hope everybody has a good night. And I didn't catch much tonight on the Tech Net, but I trust that everything went well. It's AC4BR.
Yeah, it was a pretty good evening. Charles didn't get, too many antenna questions, but I think he'll be all right till next week. And thanks for joining us this evening. You had 1 to 5 miles of smiles. That's the way I look at it. Let's move on to, all right, we're not sure about this call sign again. Kilo Golf Charlie Oscar is what we got. Right, I think you said Tonawanda. You want to come back with your call sign? Well, put that one on me. Hope you have better luck next time. Maybe text in or something. Let's move on to Brandon, Winter Springs, Florida, KR4FLZ, and this is KO4QMM, Brandon, in Central Florida. What is the furthest direct VHF UHF contacted miles that you've made? Over. Get out there, everyone in the net. Yeah, I'm relatively new to ham radio, but I do have a CMRS license, which is technically UHF, I guess. I was out in Claremont visiting my parents, and I had a couple of handhelds, and I gave them all my handhelds and went with a bike ride with my dad, and it was maybe 4 or 5 miles. It was, not very far, but they live up on a hill out there in Claremont. So, yeah, I would say about 4 miles. All right, WSQ597, back to net control. Thanks, Brandon. A little bit scratchy there. Sound like you were a little out of distance, but we got you down for 4 miles, and thanks for joining us this evening. Last on my list here is Conroe, Texas, Florin, K5YNU. Good evening, Florin.
Good evening, Roger. Everyone on the net. I just checked my logbook on the QRZ, and the farthest it was back in April, 580.5 miles, all the way to Enterprise, Alabama, from Cairo, Texas. It was a VHF 2 meter, 50 watts, and I could not believe it. There was that red cloud over us all the way there, but it was a great QSL. So that's my answer, 580 miles, 0.5. Back to the net control. Thank you for picking me up. K5YNU.
Awesome. Sounds like a lot of fun. and thanks for joining us this evening on the East Coast Reflector Tuesday Night Tech Net. And that's it for the list. Anybody else that would like to get in, I'll take one more call check-in here. Come with your call signs if you'd like to get in, answer the question and get in on the log.
Kilo Bravo 3, Juliet Romeo Bravo, KB3 JRB.
KL4 FRR, KL4 FRR.
Alright, knew there had to be a couple more. KO4FRR, my buddy Joe in Sorrento, Florida, and Stuart from New Hope, Pennsylvania, KB3JB. How about it, Stuart? What is the furthest direct VHF, UHF contact you've made? Over.
Well, it's not much, but from New Hope, Pennsylvania, with my ICOM T2H at 6 watts with a 16-inch antenna, I made it 15 miles to Warminster, PA.
Awesome, my friend. Thank you for joining us this evening, and we'll be looking for you down the line. Let's move on to my buddy Joe, last on the list, KO4FRR. Good evening, Joe, and what's your answer? Over?
This is Joe, KF4FR. Hello, Roger. I'm just squeezing it right in to the last minute here. My answer, I probably need to do more of it, but I would have to probably say a few miles. I would say at least 3 miles. But yeah, hopefully I'll be able to hit you up, Roger, soon. So we'll give that a shot. Back to you, Roger. Roger.
I'm looking forward to it, Joe. You got to be at the most 10 miles away as the crow flies, and yeah, I think we could do it sometime. Get that antenna up high enough. Well, that does it, folks. I appreciate everybody that joined us this evening. I want to thank my buddy W2BLT Scott in Buffalo, New York, and Dick, WBT New York, Vicky K8VKY. Thank you for keeping me straight there. And a couple announcements there. We got the Wednesday night, open mic. They got the open mic at Wednesday or at 8 p.m., which is always fun. Come and join that. Then we got the Thursday morning 20-meter net, 14.317, 10 a.m. They got the Friday, 8 p.m. and the 40-meter net Saturday, 7.245 at 9 a.m. Trivia net Saturday night, 11 p.m. That's it for me, everybody. I had a good time. Hope everybody else did too. Thanks for joining us. This is KO4. This frequency is back to normal amateur use. 7-3.